Hello and welcome to another episode of Ad Lib Alibi with your host John Ralph DeCito. Okay, so today is a two-parter. So we're going to talk about puberty. Okay, um, when my children reach that ripe age where it's important for them to express their sexuality. Okay, to uh, to poke and prod uh, with their extremities. Okay, let's say. Uh, if that's the path you're going to take, they're going to learn this because it's just they are not going to be walking through life blind, deaf and dumb. Okay, you want to go ahead and live your life. You're gonna know as much as I know on this topic because, like I said, there's lots of things, so much time I wasted, so much energy on things that don't matter. Okay? And the things that did matter, I wasn't successful at it until much later in life. Okay? Whether that's engaging with the opposite sex, whether that's through friendship or trying to court someone. Okay? I didn't know this information. Okay? I just didn't. Okay? I fumble fucked through life until my late 20s when I figured things out. Okay? And even then, I'm 45. Okay? And I'm glad that I know this now and not back then because I could have gotten myself in trouble. Because, I could have taken advantage of people. Right? So I want to make that clear. This information is not so you could take advantage of people. It's to navigate your teens and possibly your 20s before marriage, right? And then that's it. You're set for life, okay? Think of marriage like retirement from dating. You are retired. I don't have to date ever again, and thank Christ for that, okay? So we're going to get into this. This is a two-parter. Okay? So this first piece is called competitive geometry. It's tailored more towards the male persuasion. So let's just dive into it. Okay, let's just get this over with, off my chest so I can enjoy my day. Okay, so this piece here, competitive geometry. I'm going to read it. As I go, I will speak to it as best I can. Try not and drag this video out. Okay, so the body is a consequence of the mind. Think about that. See this here? This here is an entity. And the body is a life support for this. Okay? This is the puppeteer for your body. Body is a consequence of the mind. Okay? So at a standstill, at a glance, I can tell how much control your mind has over your autonomy. And I know it doesn't make sense because aren't you your mind? Well, do you have control of your mind? How transparent are you with the deviancy within you, the subconscious influence? Okay, if you don't, this is puppeteering your autonomy. Okay, it's just up there with the control center, just walking you through life like bumper cars with other people. Bodybuilders present their tenacity and genetics through the pain they enjoy and have that reflected through the male energy called competitive geometry. I bodybuilt for 15 years. I wasn't terribly gifted, but somehow I was convinced my generous beef signaled sexual value. When you're young, the sexual retardation will simulate crimes shared spiritually with each victim. A hybrid emotion where shit happens, but wrongdoing for whatever reason wasn't communicated before or during. As a result, we are equal victims, equal victimhood. Drug use or abuse is inevitable. Only upon the testimony of brain-raping mental illness connects our conviction to predict outcomes that forever protect our three fragile egos. These mutual disorders are madness, balance, and reality, which grounds us to earth with kindness. Okay, so that's what I realized during my ego death, is that without ego, when you break it, you start to ascend mentally. Okay, what you say, oh, this is great, but you're like a weather balloon, right? Because eventually you're going to run out of atmosphere and you're going to pop in the vacuum of space. That's what happens with your mind. Okay, so then once you realize that, your mind realizes that, you realize the purpose of ego is to ground you in the material, in the physical, so that the body is a consequence of the mind. In that sense, the body is an anchor. Okay, the body's an anchor, keeps you planted. Okay, and even if that is to your detriment, ego death can send you into psychosis. And you don't want that. Okay. What's the outcome of this thought? I will allow my word herd to answer that question. So if this is, I hand this out in person. So subscribe to my Patreon to read the results. So if you scroll down, I have posts that if you look in the comments, you'll see that my word herd, which are archetypes that I created based on people I know, loosely based, each have a contrasting, nuanced, contrary view with very little overlap. So it's like pies, pieces of pie or pizza slices. They don't overlap, right? They're perfectly cut. So it helped me to establish some sense of contrarian eureka. A contrarian eureka is something where it's a source it's a source of revelation that it's a revelation from an unlikely source that you don't appreciate, because they know something you don't, and that you have no response to except to accept it and to think, because it expanded your mind. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by this equal victimhood. Okay, where, let me see. So when you're young, the sexual retardation will simulate crimes shared spiritually with each victim, a hybrid emotion where shit happens, but wrongdoing for whatever reason wasn't communicated before or during. Okay, so I'm going to actually give you an example of shit happens. Okay, so everything I do, I am completely transparent with everything I do. Up until the point where shit happens, right? Where it's like things don't get communicated, right? And you left to wonder after the fact, oh my God, right? Or like, I should have said something. This is going to sit with me for the rest of my life. I should have said something, right? So I'm going to tell you an example. So in my teens, late teens, maybe early 20s, I went to down the City Pulse downtown, where they hosted the Spice Girls. Okay, I know. Okay, so we waited outside for like 13 hours. Okay, so I was fucking delirious at that point, right? We got there like 3 in the morning, and it wasn't until like 1 and 2, 3 in the afternoon. So we were standing there with a group of people. So we were right at the gate. So I was fucking delirious and sexually retarded because I was surrounded by girls my age. So, and we're all packed together, right? We're starting to get packed into each other. So we're touching. We're like, it's like a concert, right? You know how you're all pressed up against each other? So, the fucking, the hormones were kicking in, right? So I'm up against this one girl, right? We were the same age, okay? That was not a factor. Let's put it that way. And I'm starting to get aroused. So I'm kind of like enjoying it. I'm enjoying the circumstance, right? So this is what I'm talking about, where sexual irradiation will simulate crime. So is a crime being committed? It was not being. It did not. It was not communicated before or during. Okay. If it was communicated, I would do my immediate best to rectify it. I don't know what she was thinking. Maybe it didn't bother her at all. Maybe it was bothering her, but she didn't say anything. You understand? What snapped me out of it, was like I was up against it and I was enjoying it because I had no game. To be physically close to a female was uh was arousing. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm into it. Like, I'm getting into it. She's not saying anything, right? Not turning around, not doing nothing. Okay, absolutely nothing, nothing. At some point, I look behind me, and there's a gap. There's like a 10-foot gap, and that's what snapped me out of it. Is, oh shit! I'm like rubbing up against this girl, same age. So I backed off, right? And I snapped out of the sexual retardation, and it's like, holy shit! That's what I'm talking about. Shit happens, okay, and it doesn't get communicated before, during, or after. So that sat with me for a long time, up until now, and it's like, Jesus, that could have went south. So that's an example of shit happens, right? And so there's an equal victimhood here because if you don't say anything, you're a participant in the act. Okay, even if you don't like it, you're not saying anything. You're not communicating any wrongdoing. It's a license to continue. Okay, and maybe this girl didn't have the wherewithal to say, "Hey, back up. Hey, pervert, back up. Hey, creep, back up." And I would have immediately responded. I would have immediately snapped out of my sexual retardation. Okay, but just remember, fucking since 3 in the morning, I've been told maybe mid-afternoon. Okay, that's a lot. Just think about the mental state I'm in, and then they're in, what everyone's in, and plus there's some crazy fucking asshole that was there the whole time, riling everyone up. That's besides the point. But that's what I'm talking about. Shit happens. Okay, and that's not the only case. We all had this. Okay, we all have this scenario, and we either brush it off or we think about it from time to time. Say, oh shit, man, what the fuck was I thinking? I wasn't. Okay, there was an unconscious influence. Okay, the the body is a consequence of the mind. The mind puppeteered, orientated my body to press up against a complete stranger. Okay, I took advantage of the situation, and like I said, I have no idea if what she was thinking. Like I said, it could be like cool or not cool. I don't know. It did not get communicated before, during, or after. This is the type of thing I want to make people aware of because that's the type of thing, especially today, that will get you fucking shit canned. It will get you arrested. It'll ruin your life. Okay? And it's as innocent as that. Okay? It's just you're in a situation where it just wears you down to the point where it's like, I'm gonna test my luck. And that's a bad place to be. So that's what this talks about. Okay? That's what competitive geometry is. It is about you are what this is demonstrates how little autonomy you have here. Okay, that autonomy is rewarded through the attention you receive. So there's no what's the word? There's no incentive to question the influence. Okay, this is the emotional intelligence I want my kids to have as they're navigating their teens, their tweens, their 20s until they're married, and then you are retired, set for life. You don't ever have to date again. It's the best. So, anyways, that's this is part A of the this puberty clinic. Let's say puberty clinic. Okay, stay tuned for part B.